Welcome to the Enlighten Up podcast, where I am going to take you into a deep exploration of what it means to exist in this current reality. We are going to raise your vibes, open your mind, expand your heart, and dive deep into the wondrous mysteries and possibilities of this lifetime. There's been a spiritual catalyst that has set in motion the awakening process of many across the globe to return to the knowingness of self and unite what has been separated. Together, we're going to bring light into that darkness. We're going to remember the joy of living. But most of all, we're going to turn up the volume of our own eternal power and do the thing we're here to do. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Enlighten Up podcast. I am joined by one of my favorite and your favorite guests. Consuelo Cassotti is back, and we're going to have a very interesting conversation about consciousness and how it can be transplanted with blood transfusions, organ transplants, and we're going to get into some very interesting conversations around this, as well as trauma anniversaries. Well, there's a lot of things we're going to cover today. But Consuelo, how are you doing? It's so good to have you back.
Thank you always for inviting me. I always enjoy to be here. So yes, there is a lot that's going on. I thought it was time to talk about this because people need to be more conscious about that. It's important to pay attention to our memory, our bodies in many ways. First of all, it's important to understand that the soul decide to take a physical form. So, be birth, be in the body, is carrying some genetic information as a soul. Of course, we most of the time deal with the idea we don't want to remember our experience, but we still carry them in a certain way, okay? So we came with this, plus the bloodline genes, genetic code arise from the family because we also choose the family, the region, the place, the area, the stuff. So we choose also that particular family. So every trauma or every information comes from them. And plus whatever we use, kind of the everyday life. And so we have all of this. And also what I realized in particular for the soul that never be in the planet Earth, they carry also some ABC from the ancestral planets, like the fear of the fire or some trauma that is very important, so you can understand better how to be in this culture, how to be in this reality. Okay, so these are the mix of information.
So they're carrying information from other planet lives, like other life experiences on different planets, into this one when they've never been here before, so that they can learn to integrate easier in this planet.
No, they integrate the information on this planet Earth, because imagine somebody have a different concept about how to be here in this physical form. They don't have the ABC. So when you decide to be born here, you carry also some kind of ancestral memory from the planet. Mostly it's a planet Earth.
From this planet. Okay.
Yeah. So in order you can also for the vibration, if you think about, you can vibrate because you need this, and also you can understand. So in fact, if you ask me, years ago, I typed in this kind of very old memory as a be this Homo sapiens kind of being, but very, kind of, not very smart. And I remember I was looking around and I realized, oh no, this is not my memory. I never had this lifetime, but it was part of my baggage. So I can understand how to be human, how to start a fire, how to hunt, how to do this stuff. So it was like, it was inside of me as a memory because of the planet. So I felt that sometimes we carry also these memories. Okay. Besides, I noticed in certain people, when I tap in some memories, they belong to the mom, the grandma, the father. Sometimes I say, oh, but this, you describe my grandmother life, or, So sometimes we have a feeling that is a part of our past life, but it's not. It's inside our bloodline. So we carry this memory. Also, if we didn't live the lifetime, make sense? So
yeah, no, and I know that like we often come in here to clear the bloodlines of certain traumas through certain experiences or our desire to heal things. And so I think because we carry that vibration, like you just said, we can also have similar experiences here in this particular life that will
yes,
almost like be a catalyst or an activation for that healing to happen.
yes, I agree. And I have so many women that sometimes they come from a bloodline of, ancestor of women very, they treat them very badly, violent situation, always husband that, not nice to them. So women that need to stand up and they start to have the same situation. And finally they realize, oh, I am the one that need to break this chain of abuse. So it's amazing how many times I met women that are coming in this reality and they experience the same abuse situation because through the experience, maybe they understand better, but everyone realized, oh, I need to break this for my daughter, for my granddaughter, but also for my ancestor. And so when we work on this, it's amazing how much we clear all the life from other before them. So it's beautiful. So I agree with you. Sometimes some women, some people, not just women, but mostly I notice a lot of women have this kind of path.
So a lot of times I think we experience trauma because of some sort of karmic thing we've done in our past, but it's not so basic as that. It's not always so simple of like, oh, you did this, so now you have to clear it, and or that, like that's one of the options. But it sounds too like sometimes we take on an experience that is a vibrational match through the DNA that we chose, so that we can actually help our ancestors clear something and also clear the line ahead of us for possibly children that might be coming into our family.
Yes. It's part of our evolutionary process. So we decide to deal, and maybe we make some contract with these people, because remember, there's also a group, soul group. And so we probably choose to do this. And we are the first breaking the ice or enlighten the family line so we can help to clear better. I agree. So yes, it's very amazing to see. And I notice when somebody become more conscious about this, how easy it start to be, because it's already done. It's just about become more conscious and realize, okay, this is enough and I don't want to do anymore. And so it's interesting. Yeah. And when I do session, I see all the ancestor coming. It's very, very nice during the session.
So like the DNA that we choose to come into is very important to our experience here on this planet.
Yes, 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 is very interesting. And remember one thing too. Like me, I lost my father when I was 2, and I knew it already when I was in my mother's womb. I have this memory, and it was pretty amazing to see me knowing already this stuff. And so I know that my father was my father, and he chose to be because I can have his DNA. And he carried also some Pleiadian DNA. So it was part of the reason why he need to be my father and stay for a short time. So of course I need to experience to be without a father, but he was the one choosing to be my father because I was carrying his DNA and part of his personality, that it will help me to go through my life and be who I am. So sometimes, if you notice, sometimes somebody is adopted or have the father and they never know about the father, the biological father disappear because it's not necessary for him to stay around. You just need the genetic code. You just need the bloodline. So sometimes it's something that you ask for, and this is part of a contract. So it's okay.
Yeah. It just obviously getting through some of the abandonment issues that come with that sort of contract is obviously not always easy to get through.
Yeah, but at least you have less anger towards somebody because you realize, oh, it was part of a contract.
Yeah, and then that's hard because a lot of the people on this planet don't even realize that that's even an option. They don't even realize that we're making these contracts before we even come in. But you recently had a client who experienced an organ transplant and completely started changing who he
Yes.
was, and he thought he was going crazy. So can you share with the audience
Yeah,
what
one of the reasons why I want to talk today is also because I want people that if they decide or if they know somebody have an organ transplant, be able to understand what is going on, okay? And
or even blood transfusion, right?
yes, yes.
Mhm.
So yes, so the blood transfusion, I have a friend of mine, she's very intuitive, she's a nurse, and one day she lost so much blood. She has some hemorrhagia, so she lost a lot of blood. So she was taken to the hospital, and she remember she had 3 different transfusion of blood from 3 different people. And she said, Consuelo, I can tell you exactly what they were. I was sitting there and waiting to listen because I knew it, because I share with her about my client's story. So she became more aware. She said,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, I can tell you, one was a black guy, loved jazz, and he was a very nice, with a warm heart, and he was very nice, he wanted to helping people. Another was a trash white guy that didn't want, it was just the money. And
Mhm.
another was a lady. She was so sweet. She was very smiling me. So she said, I was feeling all of these people every time. And she said, amazing. So she was amazed. And she said, it's only a few minutes, not long, because your body is able also to transform and change the blood. But she said it was pretty amazing. She can hear the song that the guy liked it. She was like, oh my gosh. She said it was pretty amazing. So
Really?
she said, but I never have a blood transplant, so I cannot tell you about it. But she said, Consuelo, it works. If you pay attention, you can feel something. You can tell who is the donor. Can you
So
imagine?
does the blood transfusion then seem to what's the word I'm looking for here? Like almost like mix in with your body a lot more easily, or transform itself to
Yes.
be a match to your vibration much easier than an organ
Yes.
transplant?
Yes, yes, because your body is gonna transmute and change and use it, so it's gonna stay shorter time.
Mhm.
But of course, the fact that your blood carries not just your type of blood, but also your memories. It was pretty amazing to feel it.
Mhm.
You're like, okay, so it makes sense. And now you know also why some religions they don't allow to do the blood transfusion, because they
Can change your
probably,
beliefs.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you understand. So they don't know why, because they told them, no, you cannot. But now you start to understand, because you can have some kind of mix of information. Okay.
Yeah.
So be careful. All
Oh.
right. So, and yes,
That just complicates things a little bit more. Yeah.
yes, darling. So what's happened with this man? This man, around his 30, 40, probably, he came to me and he asked me for help because he was literally losing his mind. I'm not kidding. He had a liver transplant. He was very happy.
Mm-hmm.
And, and we start to talk. I start to give him session because he say, from the moment I woke up, I can barely recognize my children, and he was a photographer, professional photographer, and he say, I need to take the information instruction to start to do a picture because I was not able to use my camera. I lost the memory, or I use my camera, and I use in my nickname. I decide on, when people call me by nickname, I say no, my name is not, and I will say the full name because, like, Matthew instead of Matt, because I felt like, no, I'm not Matt anymore. So it's like he started to feel himself completely different, and his habits, he started to be more awakened at night, internet. He was more interested in eBay, buy stuff, selling stuff, like, and he never know how to use this stuff. So I don't know where this comes from. So, but at the beginning, he was very confused because the fact that he didn't recognize his own children, it
Yeah,
was
that's scary.
yeah, it was like, what I'm doing here. And he was already divorced. So in a way, thank God, because with this kind of situation, I cannot imagine we were the same partner because you have a different feeling. You have a time to find your feeling. So what's happened is we decide during the session to contact the donor, and I during my session, I asked if it was possible to contact the person who gave the liver to this man. And it was beautiful. I saw this young man show up, very nice. He said that it was his first time in this planet Earth as a soul. And he said, I did something stupid. I died because I was doing something stupid. So I felt that he was maybe driving and texting, something silly, you know, something that, and he was very sorry because he say, I love so much this life, and I kind of didn't experience fully like I was supposed to. So, and it was interesting to feeling like
that's very interesting, because you think that
yeah,
you have some kind of predestined exit points in your journey, which I understand that way. I had a woman on who talked about this, and she saw that we actually have multiple exit points that we can choose from, when we can change them depending on like where we're at in our life. But it's also possible, I think, for literal accidents to happen.
I have a feeling that sometime it could happen, but we don't pay attention, or I don't know, or maybe we are in a situation where we don't need to be. I don't know. I feel like sometimes there's a kind of misalignment between us and the situation. So I have people that are born and they didn't want to be born, and truly they decide to follow to be here because they're part of a soul group. So they came, but we're not ready, and they, I can tell you, that are not here physically. So there's so much going on sometimes. So it's not always so white and black and white, okay? And so this guy told me, I feel so sorry because I want to live more this life, and I can feel that it was very intuitive. I can feel it, it's present. It was like kind of intuitive, kind of cool guy. I kind of like it when I felt it, because it's like young with a lot of intuition, a lot of skills, but he never had occasion to use it. So I think that mostly it was this part of him say, I was talent, but I didn't have an opportunity to use this stuff. And I think it was, as a young soul, you know, I noticed that sometimes soul that never have experience as a in this planet, they can be powerful, but they can be just a little lost. I felt like it was a little lost, and it was kind of, you know, not figuring out what to do in this life. So I shared this information with this client, and he confirmed that he knew only that he was a male and he was a young. So he confirmed that I was right about it. And so this young man asking as a soul if he can experience through him, through the liver, some of his lifetime. And the man was nice and said, I'm okay to do it. We can do it. And the soul say, you know, this young man say, if you decide don't do anymore, just say it and I will be fine, and I will completely fully disconnected from you. And I thought it was pretty interesting, because I thought, okay, we can be in charge with this.
Because it's kind of like a walk-in, but not really.
Thank you. Exactly what I thought. I thought,
yeah,
this is new. So we have different sessions, okay? Because these clients, it have a time to adjust and to, you know, because he said to me, Consuelo, before I was a photographer, now I don't care any much anymore to take a picture, but I feel my hands hot and I feel I have a heel in my hands. So, and he say, I become emotional about stuff that before I didn't pay attention. I do stuff that I have no clue. I have intuition that I have not before. He say one time I was driving home and in my car, and I can hear my dog say, hurry up, I need to pee, hurry up. And he was so shocked because my dogs talk to me. So I think this regular man in a way, but he never be so exposed to this intuition, to this ability, start to change completely his life. Okay. So it took him a while to adjust. In fact, it was a time where he started to say we, and I say, don't talk we, because it's talk about him and the young man. I say, people think that you're crazy. Stop to talk about we. Okay. Because I say, we will love to do this. I say, be careful, you know, because easily felt this young man part of him, and he accepted. And so in fact, his liver, you know, his transplant was doing fine, it was successful. You know, sometimes you can have some rejection.
Yes.
So he was doing very well. He was taking care of himself, but he did fine. And the truth, I lost the contact with him because it's happened a few years ago. I believe I started to become a masseuse because he want to help people. Say, I want to do more physical. I want to be a healer. And I was so surprised about this because for a photographer, but he was taking picture of a model, or, women, but it's not superficial, but kind of different kind of, and become so sensitive. I want to be a healer. It was an incredible change. And so I think I helping to understand better. And this was important because he had some feeling, he felt some imbalance, but nobody was explained to him. He went to doctor, psychiatrist. He was very careful because, I didn't want to be completely out. And, if you go to a psychologist or psychiatrist, most of the time they give you some kind of drugs.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but what I'm saying is I helping, so he was able to understand and slow down the process, because at the beginning it was too much. It was overwhelming. They say it's overwhelming. I cannot think. I'm completely different person, and he cannot understand what was going on.
Do you think it's because the age of the individual was so young, like a teenager, young adult, that his energy was so strong and powerful that it was able to almost like push through more?
Yes. And also one of the things that my clients say one time, I remember, they say, Consuelo, before the operation surgery start, I say to myself, enough of me. I want to change my life or live forever. Not coming back anymore. He was tired of his life. And so he set up this intention that he want to be a different person. To be better. Or otherwise, he preferred to die under the surgery. Say, I said to myself, I'm not going to coming back. If I need to come back the same guy, I don't want. So I think he opened a door to a more opportunities. So you see, now.
See, this is why intention is so important with anything. It really does open portals of possibility.
Exactly. So when he came back, he was for sure another person, without doubt. But because he didn't have anybody helping to understand this, to process it at the beginning, it was driving me crazy. He was become depressed. He was having a hard time to do every day something because he cannot figure out what's happened to him. Okay. So it's the reason why I would love to have this information go in many places, because there are many people having some situation and they don't know what to do with themselves. And family doesn't recognize them anymore. They act different, they do different. So it's very, very strange. I'm telling you, I have this friend of mine, he went to, in Italy, to the hospital. He had a surgery in his heart because he changed a ventricular, one part of his heart, and it was mechanic stuff. But in the side, he was in the same room with another young man, and the young man received a full heart. So he had a full heart transplanted, or a big part of the heart was a big, huge surgery. This young man, every night he was sleepwalking and talking in German. He doesn't know any German, and he was talking in German, and he was going back and forth from the room like a crazy person. And my friends remember this. They say, I remember this young man, but he was talking in another language and doesn't know any words in German, only Italians. And he was speaking German during the night. Because remember, when you go to sleep, the barrier comes down, so you're more open. And instead of helping to understand what was going on, they start to drug him, give him something to sleep and to drug. So, of course, there are no people prepared to tell you, you know what? This is your donor. So, okay, it's okay. Everything's going to be fine. So let me see, figuring out what's going on. And maybe to have some information about the donor would be nice. Not because we want to pride on this, but at least understand who is this guy or this woman, what they did with their life. Because, yeah, you understand, it can be really, it can be something.
I remember one of the first episodes I ever put out. It's like it's a really early episode of the podcast. It was in the first year, and I think it was one of like shopping at the Cosmic Costco, or I don't know, like it's one with John in it. And he talked about, because he was a nurse, and he remembers that a guy came in and got a transplant or a blood transfusion or something like that. And all of a sudden afterwards, all he wanted was to eat chicken nuggets. And he's like, I never used to eat this stuff. I never even liked it. And now I want his chicken nuggets. Yes. And so it's amazing how you can take on part of the desires and the personalities
Yeah,
And
there is
even
a movie was made in the 1890 where these two people receive a transplant, both of them, and they found out they received the transfer from husband and wife. They died in a car accident, and they only the young daughter survived. So these two patients, female and male, receive a heart from both parents, and they felt to go to this place and they cannot figure out. It was a kindergarten playroom, and they were watching with children, and they found themselves, without telling themselves, after they finished the surgery and recover, found themselves watching this young girl, and they cannot figure out why, and they fell in tears. It was amazing. At the end, they got married, this couple, at the end of the movie, and the little girl was invited with grandpa to go and to see the wedding because they felt that she was part of the family. It's amazing. And all the lady, she said she received some transplant too, and she said, I never liked ice cream, but now I'm crazy about ice cream. And she found out there was a young teenager girl who gave her the organ to her. And she said, I would like to talk to the parents because I miss them. So she was funny because she wanted to see her parents, the parents of a young girl. So it was crazy. So the movie really explained what people really can feel it if they pay attention. So it's very interesting to understand, and it's important for people to be part of it. I understand every time we do something like that, be careful, do with the right mind if you want to do it. I told you before, I decide don't give my don't donate my organs because I thought, can you imagine somebody that is a regular person wake up with some part of me?
starts like seeing the Akashic records and
It's too much. It's a lot of responsibilities. So unless somebody is really prepared.
But you never know. I think that if you were to put that out there and someone was to receive you, there would be some sort of agreement on a soul level that maybe they're like, you know what? It's time to wake up.
I agree. But yes, I think if we have more preparation about this before we receive any organs or after, and have somebody help us to understand what is going on, helping us to do the transition, it will be better for everybody, of course. Also because if they carry some memories or some feeling, can you imagine a parent? How would be nice, maybe a parents losing the young children, to have some kind of feeling that there's still something in the other people, and have occasion maybe to process differently the death. I don't know. I feel like it can be something different. It can be something a little different, but of course, and you need to have evolving people to do this. Otherwise, it would be not such a nice situation.
So it's interesting because if someone's got the memories, if the memories are held within the cells, but is there also some level of the consciousness still alive within that person, like that the other soul is still tethered to in some way?
Yes, it is for sure. It seems that, and again, I think it's also part of the deal. So I believe if people have some transplant and they decide they don't want to carry the memory, they can ask to whatever is connected to the organs, maybe to free them, okay, or to clear something. So I think we can clear energetically if there is any memory, because not every time can be a good person. I'm sorry to say, it can be, somebody have a car accident or died, and maybe he was doing something not nice, okay? Maybe was robbing a bank or whatever, we don't say doesn't need to be somebody every time somebody very good and incredible. Sometimes can be not nice people, and maybe some anger, some situation that they carry. So isn't why it would be nice to be able to clear this from the person, so they receive a more clear organs, okay? And so with less memory, maybe, or more neutral situation, so it would be nice. And so it's something that is a field that not many people, start to study and be able to do it. But I think it would be nice to do it more, do some research and helping, because I'm telling you, I talked to another nurse and she said there are many cases like the one that I described to her about this man with a liver transplant. She said, oh, we have many cases, and people start to lose their mind. And there are many cases. And what they do, they give a tranquilizer, they put drugs and stuff until they adjust. And of course, maybe after a few months, they start to adjust. I don't say it will not happen.
Mm-hmm.
So in the case of my client, it chose to be connect, and it chose to be, in this way. But I believe that at a certain time, you start to merge and everything's fine. But also, remember, there is also some people have a rejection. The body reject. So I wonder how much is also part of what the organs carry as a memory, not just the physical part. Maybe it doesn't blend well with the soul of a new host. So if you think it is interesting, so I think it would be very interesting to know more. And I'm very open to help anybody want to have, it's going to have some surgery or have some kind of situation, because I think there is always way to clear and help.
Yeah. I think it opens a door where I think not a lot of people are aware of, that this sort of thing can happen. And obviously, when you're healing from like a very big surgery, you are vulnerable and you're weaker. And so when things start to happen, you might question, did something go wrong? Or, is there something wrong with me? Is like a really easy path to kind of start going down, because you're in a very vulnerable state.
I agree. And talking about trauma in the physical body, let me tell you that every time we have a broken bones or something, if you break a foot or something, and exactly 1 year after, your body remember, like we call birthday, trauma birthday,
Yeah, like trauma anniversary. Yeah.
Yeah, trauma anniversary. But it's true, because if you pay attention, the same time, you will feel some kind of discomfort. You feel something is going on. And maybe don't pay attention because you're busy, but the body remember through the time, the trauma is amazing also this. So if you add also this information, so it'd be nice also to clear this trauma. And so
why do you think that is, though? Why do you think a 1 year anniversary brings in some of the memories? Like, it activates some of the memories of the pain or the feeling of it. Like, what is it, the body's way of saying, hey, we need some extra attention here? Is it something to do with a ritual or a ceremony? Like, what is that?
I think part is memory. So I think part is it's kind of recorded. It's like when the same recording start to go and again. So I think kind of loop sometime. I don't know. This is my feeling that it can be a loop that is in your body, and until you don't, okay, let me put it this way. If you clear the emotion, it will be probably easy to go away. But if you don't clear the emotion of the trauma, I think it come back easier, because you are stuck in the loop. This part of the body stuck on the loop. And so you continue to recreate it in order to say, oh, pay attention, because this was related to this, that. And if you don't pay attention, it's come back to you again. So the 1 year time is probably part of the loop. I don't know exactly this, but I feel like it's a loop, but it remind you, okay, you did this to yourself 1 year ago. Have you changed something or not? Did you understand what's going on or not? So I have this feeling that is about to pay attention until you clear, and so it's going to fade away. This is what I'm feeling.
That makes sense. And I think about too, when it comes to death and loss, people really struggle around that first year anniversary, which, if you lose someone in your life, or maybe it's the death of a relationship, and it comes up to that time, it does bring back certain memories, and it activates the emotional wounding. So it makes sense that it would also happen in the body.
Yeah, so the body has. And in fact, one method that is very easy to use and is when you tap in something, and you don't want to have any bruise or any black spot, I suggest, and I didn't create it, I learned years ago, if you stay few seconds on the, you stay 10 seconds in the positive part where there are no trauma, and you move your hands where there is a trauma, and you stay less, half time, and go back again, and go back, you know, and do this for a period of time, few minutes if you like, and you finish only the positive, where there is nothing anymore. Is about remember the traumatic cells, how to be more balanced again, back balance again. Beside your hands helps too, you know, because that's what these cells are clean. They are not traumatized. So you help to remember the imbalanced body, how to be back to the balance. So because they hold the memory. So, and when they communicate through the movement, you help them. In fact, pay attention. A mom, when the child is, oh, let me see what's happened to you. They do this immediately. Have you noticed? Or a child is, oh, I hurt myself, mommy. Look at me, look at me. So we do this without knowing that is our smart body tell us how to do, so we can remember to the traumatized part. Oh no, it's not just remember that this is my good part, this is the traumatized part. So we kind of pass the information through our palm to our cells, because they communicate by the touch. Makes sense?
Well, I mean, it makes sense too, because touch is very healing. We know this. Touch is very healing, even with emotional wounding, to have someone hug you, you know, or just that alone. So I can understand that our being able to apply some sort of touch therapy just through pressure or movement, because whenever I say I don't know, hit my leg against some, like the coffee table or something like that, and it's just, I will instantly, my reaction is put your hand on top and just apply a lot of pressure to minimize the pressure that just happened. It almost like makes it feel better. But then like also like I'll want to rub really, really fast and do that. So it's interesting, because so what you're doing is transferring the memory of the healed, like balanced energy into the trauma, so it knows what to work with.
Yes, exactly. And it works. I'm telling you, it works. If you have a moment to stop and do it every time, it works splendid. I use it many times, and I always felt that it works. So, and it's the same way. The cat licking, you know, if you notice when the cat step in something, I saw a dog, I saw animals, they're licking themselves immediately, you know, as if it's not a big trauma, but whatever it is, they start to lick themselves. So they use the tongue to tell the cells, this is the good way to be. So it is instinctual in certain way. So the body knows how to self-heal, how to take care of itself if we pay attention. And so it does. Okay, so this is very nice. And so one thing that, if you like, yeah, you have any questions? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So if you like, we can also look of ask for more information if you like today.
Yeah, no, I'd love that. And I'd also wonder if we could just, if there's any more information around what we've just been talking about, but also when you were talking about this guy, this younger guy who did something stupid, and like, you know, the guy got his liver, this idea that he was a new soul to Earth. I was wondering if we could maybe get some more information about the new souls that are coming to Earth and what that experience is like for them as a new soul here on this planet. Because I guess one of the misperceptions you might have of a new soul being here is that you think they might be a younger soul, but not necessarily. They could be a very old soul with a lot of powers. And so what's it like for them? We can get more information. I think that would be really cool, because I've never really kind of gone into that before.
So if you like, but because it's happened sometimes. I have some clients that came to me, and sometimes they're very new, like this is the first time. And I can tell you that not all, but a lot of them, they are very lighter. They don't carry the same, it's like they carry less, because they carry less karma maybe from this planet. They are lighter soul. They have a time to be here most of the time. They don't feel at home, So a lot of time they having a time to be here and to adjust to this reality. But I feel more very lighter. I don't know, as energy, and they have the energy that they have is expanding easier. It's like the body is more like a little cage, okay, for them. They have more energy. So probably because they're coming from other experience where they use their own energy in a bigger body or expand more. They don't have body, maybe they are ball of light. But I can feel this is the difference that I feel sometimes with some clients. They are here kind of trapped in this body. And in fact, most of the time they are called warrior of light because they come here with a purpose on helping the planets. But what I also noticed that not everybody have a purpose like to be the enlightened one and go around and start to tell people. No, they can have a regular life, but just to be here, they grant a certain energy. They help the planet. It's not just sometimes we think about people. No, just to be here, they grant a certain energy and they connect to certain beings. So they're able to do the work, the job, maybe just walking on the forest and the park, or be in the everyday life and working in some place where they need to be healed. And they just because they walk by, they not always are conscious. Some they do, but there is no ego. What I like about most of this new soul, they don't carry a big ego about it. They're just themselves. And they want to be the true themselves more than we do. I think as a soul that have so many lifetime here, we have a substructure of many lifetime, many emotion, many rules, but it's hard for us to be without ego, without feeling that we need to have a purpose and need to be shown to the people, sorry, but it's what sometimes we step in this stuff, all of us. And instead, I feel like this young soul that are not young as a human, they have less ego. They come here more with be the true themselves. And it's something that as human, we have in our time to understand. Because for us, we need to always have this kind of facade or have this manner. We always this kind, we have a tradition. Okay, we have a way to talk. We have a way to act. So be the true yourself, but with a posture. Be kind. It's kind of what what that means. Yes. So most of this new soul, they come over here, and they want to be the true themselves without boundaries, without pay attention to keep in certain way, not because they don't care about tradition, but they don't belong to the tradition. So they have as a bloodline, but it's hard for them to see something that is nothing important, but it's like it doesn't resonate with them. It's it. Makes sense what I'm saying? So is there some why we have this kind of
Okay. And I wonder too, like, is there some sort of special recruitment going on right now too for like newer souls to be coming in, or, because we're in very interesting times. And I think it's just interesting to maybe be kind of flooding the planet with these really high vibrational beings who don't necessarily need to be known as high vibrational. They're just going to come in and do their stuff. But I'm wondering if there's like some sort of galactic recruitment going on out there right now. Like it'd be cool to kind of.
Okay, let me ask for a second because I didn't ask this. So, okay, there are 3 type of beings coming right now and in this planet, and some are just watching. So some they're just not going to be in a physical body. So they are coming, but they're not going to be here. But just watching and experiencing because they don't necessarily be here. But one group of new beings is coming and is carrying this kind of, I see like a fuchsia purple kind of color. So I don't know, but like between fuchsia and purple, this kind of is a burgundy purple color, and gold. I see these 2 colors, and they are very open in the third eye. I see this third eye very, very, very open. So they are coming to clear the past. So they are coming to helping the humanity to move forward and clearing the past. But it will be also to offer a new way to act and to do. Back again to what I just said. So it seems like they are coming to help to see a new perspective, to see everything from a different way, because we need to let go, not because the tradition aren't important, but the past is too heavy right now. So it's time for letting go of the past and move forward. And it's something that a lot of families, because tradition, so because it's okay to listen and to pay attention to tradition until they don't become heavy and entrap you and entrap your family in not evolve anymore. So it's really about what they're coming. So we're gonna help the family to shift and to change the reality. And this is gonna be very interesting. So they're coming, and I feel like for the next 10 years, they're gonna be here. So the new group is coming right now. I don't know. I heard Elosian, so I don't know if the name is Elosian, but with E-L-O, yeah, Elosian. But it seems that they are a new group, and they are very passionate about what they're coming to do. They carry a lot of passion. I see the heart. They carry the heart, and they offer the heart to humanity. So since we're going to do a heart work, and they say that this is it's coming from the heart, is going to be accepted easier, because people cannot say no to them.
Are they picking specific parents to make their transition here into the planet easier or more helpful? Is that part of the plan?
I see some that say we're gonna choose a very not easy parents. So I think there are a mix of them, but a lot of them, because they want to help more, they're gonna choose a not easy situation. I think I'm gonna find a not easy situation. Again, maybe old traditions, people, it can be South American, or maybe, in place where they carry this tradition very strong, and they having a time to let them go. So maybe women, they cannot speak, or you need to marry what the family choose. So I feel like they're gonna choose places where tradition is something that they need to help to move on. So it's not gonna be easy for them, but they're gonna be very connected to each other. We're gonna do an incredible, already start to have this web. So they're gonna support each other, because it's not gonna be easy task for them. Okay.
Very interesting.
I know. Also, okay. So, all right.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah, this was not expected for sure. But yes, they're gonna be interesting. So we're gonna start to see big changes in many countries. By the way, I have a feeling that they're gonna. I don't know if because of them they're gonna start to put the seeds in the family, because they're very young. So I don't think we're gonna do a big change in 10 years, but I have a feeling that they're gonna put some seeds. So maybe the energy, the vibration they carry is gonna help to vibrate different in the family. So I think we're gonna make already help the change already as a child, not because they're gonna be outspoken or say something, but mostly because the presence in that family is gonna help.
I could see that would take quite a few decades to really start to anchor in, through the traditions and breaking certain traditions or transmuting certain traditions. I could see that being something that would happen over the course of, gosh, who knows? Like it could be 20, 30, 50, 100 years, like.
Yes, but they say it's time to learn. It's time to let go. Yeah, it's time really to shift the consciousness about also religions. I think it's about between religion and tradition. I think it's going to be a mix of this. So it's really about the power. If you think about it, it's about power also. Some community keep the power in a certain way, because if you're not free to think whatever you want, they keep the power. So I think it's about also to shift all of this. Okay, good
Makes
luck.
sense. Okay, that was interesting. And then if you want, we can also do a little bit about the organ transplant and.
Yes. So what we can do, you wanted me to talk, sorry, I cannot understand what you say, because what to say is also sometimes when I do a session, they came and they change organs energetically, my beings, and they do this surgical, energetic surgical transfer. So they change. But you see, the difference between changing the physical organ and the energetic organ is much different. Because when you change it and you have an organ for somebody else, you carry the memory. But when they come over and they literally cut off the liver and they put a new liver with a new energy, is above the vibration. So they change in other dimension your liver, and it's going to affect your physical liver too. So it makes sense. So I just want to say, sometimes I see them come in and say, no, there is not much to do. The only way is to cut off and change it. And we transplant immediately. And we do energetically. And I think this is the best way sometimes to do it. Okay. So, and it doesn't affect you like when you have an organ from somebody else, of course. All right. Yeah. And so there's different way that we can do. So you're asking me to channel something or to do a...
Yeah, let's see if we can call in like some sort of esoteric surgeon who understands the physical transplants.
Okay.
They may have some information for us that we haven't discussed yet.
Okay, there are at least two beings, an Arcturian and more of a one. Sorry, 3 Arcturians and few Pleiadians coming here. Okay, thank you. So let me connect with them. All right. All right. So let me see what is going on. We just asked to understand more about the transplant organs. And all right, the Pleiadians believe that is not very, they believe that is something that we are experiencing. Both they are smiling at us like little children, that we are still doing stuff that is we're not supposed to do in certain way we do. But they say you are learning, so there is no other way for you to learn that through this way, but you're gonna understand that this is kind of, I don't say barbaric, but it's not really the way that you're supposed to do it, because this is not gonna help you evolve, help you to survive. And so they say, is the reason why, ask yourself, if you need to survive, you need to have some awareness. So it's like, I feel like if you survive without awareness, what is the point? Okay, sometimes it's better to realize that it's your time and your body, maybe it's time for letting go. Your body is expired, so it is okay. But because you see death in a way we don't see, for you, the expiration time your body means that you are dying, doesn't mean that you're going to transform. And so instead of understand this part, you prefer to do surgery and to do stuff, and it's okay. But until it's not so invasive. And in this case, they call it very invasive to our soul and physical. It's like not the physical, but I feel like it's very invasive to the whole part of you. So you create this moment where if you don't have a conscious to go through, you create, instead of moving forward, you go backward. It's what the Pleiadians say. Okay, let me see what the Arcturians said. They say that they went through the same, so they are not the only one experiencing this. They did the same stuff. I don't know when exactly, but long time ago. And we finally realized that it was not necessary, because we start to use, energetic surgery. So working on the organs and change the vibration, it was the best solution. And we focus on each organ. When we change the vibration of the organ, what was not working anymore, the transplant was not necessary anymore. So we're going to reach that moment where with the sound and the vibration, you're going to do this. So we don't need anymore. If you really somebody want to leave and stay, we can help in this way. So they say that they did it. Yes.
Is sound one of the most effective ways to, what are the most effective ways they found?
It showed me a kind of machine, I don't know, but it's kind of machine that create with a vibration of the sound. So it's a combination. I feel like I heard like a something like this, and at the same time with the sound. So it's kind of tapping a certain thing. And it is also something that they say that when the organs, and it takes a while, it's not going to do in one night. We say it takes a while for the organs to adjust. And sometimes when you do more than one organ, the organ close, and sometimes you do the full body. So it's something that they learn to do more and more they're doing, and they realize that they don't need transplant anymore. So, and they start to be healthy without transplant. So these are the Arcturians. It seems to be like a, I don't know, medical bed maybe, but something like the sound will create some kind of wave. But what I'm feeling is they start to, what I noticed is sometimes they use only for one organ, it depends on the major problem, or the organ was the major organ, so it depends on the type of organs, okay, the part of body that need to be changed. But also depends how far was the disease. So it seems like sometimes they use in the full body because of the only way to help all the organs. So in order to support the one that it was need to be healed, they need to change everybody as organs. And they say, remember, every organs have different vibration too. There's not just one vibration that goes with everything. Every organs carry their own vibrations, like a personality, a soul, okay? So every organ. So in order to do this, you need to find the right vibration belong to that organ, the right music, the sound to that organ. So when you increase the vibration, you need also to be certain the other organs are okay. So there is a, it's kind of concert, like a harmony. They need to blend to each other. So it takes time. It don't happen by day and night. It takes time, but through this, we don't need to do any transplant anymore. So they found this long time ago.
That makes a lot of sense, because I know that certain organs hold certain emotions. Like, for instance, the kidneys tend to hold on to fear. The liver and the hips tend to hold on to anger. And so there would be a different frequency that you would use to help heal that particular organ. But I can also see the importance of remembering we're talking about a holistic perspective. It's just like you can't go in and cut out something in one place and not think that the rest of the body isn't going to be affected in some way. And so we can't just go in and put a sound into one organ and think that the other organs aren't going to be reacting in a way.
Yeah, because otherwise it'd be like a cutting apart and add like we do now, you know. And it's the reason why we have some kind of, you know, people, they cannot, the body doesn't accept some organ, you know. There are a lot of people that they can, you know, they cannot, because the vibration of that organ is so different from the other parts of the body too. You think about it, makes sense. You know, imagine you vibrating very high, in particular if you're vibrating high, or also low, doesn't matter. And you put something that it doesn't vibrate with you. Imagine how much disharmony you create in the moment, beside the trauma, the physical trauma, but also the energy. So I think that one of the ways that will be nice is somebody have a transplant, be put in a place where harmonize with a maybe singing bowl, with some kind of sound, helping to have more harmony, and maybe some tuning fork directing to the organs, and help the, you know, all the body accept easier wherever we put inside new as a new. So this would be probably another way to be close to what they just explained to us that they do in their own way. Make sense?
Yeah, I think we as humans dismiss all of the little nudges we get around our body. We don't listen to the communication center of our body. And so we get to this point where the disease gets quite advanced and we don't have too many options left other than some sort of physical, you know, because sometimes it gets to that point. It doesn't matter how much energetic work it's too far gone. Like, you've got to do something physical now. And I think that's important that people understand that too, because I think there's such a desire, or I think a disconnect with Western medicine and the trauma response of Western medicine, and realizing that, yeah, if you can go a different route, it might be helpful, but sometimes it's the best route left when you've left something for too long.
Exactly. Yeah, because if you know, and of course, I have a feeling sometimes, because I see people carrying the same disease for years and years, but I think that sometimes it's part of the the contract, they choose to have the disease. So sometimes it's really about figuring out that maybe is what you need to experience. You know, I remember one time I was reading a book, they talk about these blue beans, they're very connected to Native American. And one time this man, saved Native American, he had this car accident. His best friend died. They were driving, he was driving or she was driving, don't remember. They had a car accident and the friends died. And he saw this blue sphere around him and he saw these beans that pulling out of the car and they heal him his head. But this man was never be able to walk. And he was so mad of them because they say, you did this to me. Why you didn't heal me? And you know, the truth, I believe that this man he want to become a surgeon and he changed his career and become a doctor, but because of his leg, he was able to do something completely different. And I think it was part of his life to understand that this was, so they didn't affect him because they knew it, that it was okay to save him, his head, so he have no brain hemorrhage or injury. But they knew that in the future, because he will be without the use of a leg, he will have a different path. And they didn't want to interfere in the path. So what I'm saying is sometimes we become mad, but we don't realize that maybe if we don't see much more, or we cannot say, or we cannot walk, maybe we need to enjoy something different. We need to find a reason why we need to enjoy our life, doesn't matter what. As to you? Because I think we take for granted we need to be healthy and everything need to work in a good way. But truly, I don't think so.
No.
I think that we're supposed to have some moment where we need to slow down. We need to have some moment where we can understand the pain. So we pay attention to our body sometimes, or we understand somebody else's pain.
And also, like, you know, if you are able to go through a place where you can heal, you are reminded of your gratitude for your experience when you're healthy and how much to enjoy it, perhaps in a different way than taking it for granted.
Yeah, so there are many ways why sometimes. So I have people that they choose to don't be in certain way, but because maybe they made a path in another lifetime, and they don't want to go through the same path again, and so they want to keep themselves out and don't have visibility of the use of the hands or able to walk, or maybe helping to find something else to do it.
Yeah.
And it's really about perspective and help us. I don't say that we don't need to be healthy. No, it's okay. But what I'm saying, also accept what we have and understand that maybe it's part of something that we need to deal in order to understand. And maybe more we understand what is really going on, we are able to let them go and maybe to heal and to be better, or maybe not. But at that point, some of us maybe will say, oh no, you know what? I'm okay with this because this reminds me how to be or how to take care of myself, because normally I don't do if I don't have this moment.
Well, and we kind of forget that we've come in here to have a multiple array of experiences here that are going to color our life in different ways. And let's face it, some of those experiences are colored with black and gray and not the vibrant oranges and yellows and pinks and, turquoise blues and all of that. Like we've got, some heavier colors that we're going to be experiencing. So, and that's all part of the contrast.
Yes, I agree. So I would say goodbye to our friend.
Yes.
Come over. Thank you for this information. Let's say hi. All right. So
that was great. That was very helpful. I think we covered a lot there because, this idea that, especially the trauma anniversaries, and also how to do the motion, like work on the healed part of your body first, then transfer over to the traumatized, and then make sure you're ending on the healed part. is, I think, really helpful to people. I'm definitely going to try that the next time, although I do not need to call in an experience anytime soon in order to try that method.
Something little. Okay.
Yeah. But also it was very interesting to hear about the different kinds of beings that are coming to the planet to help, move us forward, evolve us, and kind of let go of the heaviness that sometimes I think we just get so attached to through tradition. And
yeah, I was surprised about this.
Yeah.
But it makes sense, because really we are to the place where right now we are losing, we need to let them go. And it doesn't mean that they're not important, but they are okay until they create the cages, they create the limitation. If they create the limits, it doesn't make any sense to continue it.
No, I agree. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing all this wisdom and knowledge and experience, because I think it's important. If you're a friend who is the nurse who is experienced, says she saw a lot of people having these experiences, this will be helpful to anyone who may have that similar, maybe going in for surgery or blood transfusion, or someone. Send this episode out to them, let them listen, because
exactly, it's what I was hoping for. Yeah,
much better than going down the drug route, that isn't exactly targeting the actual issue.
Yes, not to be afraid. Just accept and remember, you are in charge. So you can choose what is good for you. But if you start to deal with and understand that it's okay, and understand that, okay, something changed, okay, and figuring out what is going on, it's nice. I think it's important. And this is my suggestion. And of course, I can help if you need it. But I think starting to accept every part of ourselves and accept the possibility that, we carry somebody else energy, and don't fight, be open, and we can clear. And you can solve this attachment soul, but it's in a way it is, because it's a little attached to the soul, thank you, but I don't need you anymore, or it's time for you to go back to where you come from and let me be free. I think it can help. If you don't
finishing that experience. Yeah. Well, let everyone know where they can find you. And do you have anything new going on, or what sessions are you offering right now?
No, I'm offering a regular session like karmic release, and I create a meetup group, but it's something different, where I'm helping on consciousness when new people start to be awakened, more awakening one. So, but yes, I'm here, and I will let you know more about it. But you can always look on my website for more information about me. And if you have any question or situation that you feel that are a little crazy, welcome. I love to work with a situation that are quite impossible.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
The crazier, the more welcome. There you guys got it. Well, I'm going to leave all of your details in the links in the description below for everyone listening on Spotify, iTunes, or any other podcast app. This will be in the show notes. And of course, if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, please leave us a review if you enjoyed this episode. The reviews help people find the podcast, and I would greatly appreciate that support. If you could provide it, it would mean so much to me, and it'll allow me to reach more people and help us get this knowledge out to those who are probably looking for it, and some of those who don't even realize they're looking for it yet, because a few seeds can always be planted. Guys, I love you so much. Have an incredible time, and thank you, Consuelo, for being here. I love you.
For inviting me here.
We'll have you on again soon. Guys, have a great night. Bye. Thanks again for joining me for another show on the Enlighten Up podcast. I love you guys so much for all of your continued support. So remember to raise your vibe, find your tribe, and be open to the infinite possibilities held in the mysteries that surround us all. Thanks again for sharing the show with your family and friends. And if you're new to the show and you need to find out more information about me, please head on over to my website, NicoleFrolick.com, where you can join my newsletter. And please follow me on Instagram, Telegram, and YouTube. Keep your light bright, and I'll see you next week.